All right, order of operations. This is, in summary, order of operations just means the order by which we perform operations in a math problem. So it basically means what it says. And the operations are things like multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Those are your four basic operations. But we also have a few others, and right now I'm going to teach you a fifth one. So when we see multiplication as an operation, you know that we have a 2 and a 3. That means 2 times 3, which gives us a 6. So that operation multiplies two things. Division, if we have a 10 divided by a 5, division just tells us 10 divided by 5 equals 2. That's an operation. Another operation is adding things together. 4 plus 5, you all know how to do that. And we also have subtraction, which could be 6 minus 1 gives us 5. All right, so those are your four basic operations. But now we have a new one, and this one is called the exponent. So exponent is a little number on top of a big number. And just quickly some terms. This little number is called the exponent, and this big number over here is called the base. Now, the easiest way to tell you what an exponent does is to say it as an English sentence. Here's the thing about math. Math is basically a language of its own. And the reason a lot of people have trouble with it is because they don't know how to convert their English language into their math language and their math language into their English language. So what I'm going to do throughout all these lessons is try to give English phrases for a lot of the things we do, and that way it should make it a little easier to comprehend. So in this case, for exponents, whenever we see a little number on a big number, the phrase that needs to come to mind is this: 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. All right, 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. 2 is our base, and 3 is our exponent. So this is much easier to think about. So let's write it out. 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. So here we have a 2 times a 2, that's twice, times another 2, that's 3 times. So if we were to multiply this out, we'd have 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 times 2 gives us 8. All right, so that just means 2 with an exponent of 3 equals 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. All right, let's take a look at another example. All right, so we have 4 with an exponent of 2. Once again, 4 is our base, and 2 is our exponent. So we just use our English sentence. 4 multiplied by itself 2 times. So let's write that out. 4 times 4, it's 1 4 times 2 4, or 1 4 times another 4, which gives us 2, equals 16. So 4 with an exponent of 2 is 4 times itself 2 times, which equals 16. Now, another way of saying an exponent of 2 is to say to the power of 2. There's actually a few ways we could say 2. We could say 4 to the power of 2. We could say 4 raised to the power of 2. 4 multiplied by itself 2 times. That's the English way of saying it. Or 4 squared. And this is specific to when there's a 2 right there. All right, let's take a look at one more example. Okay. Let's take a look at 1 to the power of 6. So let's say it in English. 1 multiplied by itself 6 times. So 1 to the power of 6 equals 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. And if we know how to multiply by ones, this is easy. That just equals 1. All right. This brings us to a special rule. Whenever 1 is the base, remember base is the big number. B for base, B for big. That means that that's the number we're multiplying by. But whenever 1 is the base, it doesn't matter what the exponent is. It's always going to equal 1. And that's specific to 1. So that's just something you can remember, but you don't have to remember it, because if you just go through your process of thinking about it through English, you'll always end up with 1 multiplied by itself however many times, which is always going to equal 1. So now let's talk about the order of operations. So let's say we have a big old math problem. Now, if we're looking at this problem, there's a few, most people would try to go from left to right. And if we were to do that, we would say 1 plus 2 equals 3, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 minus 4 is 5. But the order of operation tells us that there's a specific way of by going through these simplifications, and that is called PEMDAS. PEMDAS. All right, so each of these letters tells us a different operation we're doing, and we do them from top to bottom. So let's take a look at what each of these stand for. Okay, we got parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, and we do them from top to bottom. So let's take a look at our problem right here. In this problem, what operations are we using? That's the question we want to ask. So we have addition, we have multiplication, and we have subtraction. So what are we going to do first? Let's refer to our order of operations. Let's start from the top and go down. Parentheses. Are there any parentheses? No. And we'll explain what parentheses are later. Are there any exponents in this case? Well, let's see. Are there any tiny letters on another, or any tiny numbers touching another? Nope. Is there multiplication or division? Yes. All right, so we have 2 times 3. So that's what we want to do first. 2 times 3 gives us 6. Okay, so now we're going to rewrite everything else in the line below. So everything we didn't touch. So 1 plus gets brought down. This 2 and this 3 simplified and came together, became a 6, and we didn't do anything with that minus 4, so we're just going to bring that down as well too. Great. So let's go through our list now. So is there any other multiplication and division? No. What about addition and subtraction? Yes. Well, which one do we do first? So this is the important thing with order of operations. See how I boxed up multiplication, division in the same box and addition and subtraction? That just means whenever we get to that step, we will do them from left to right, and that's the order we'll do them in. So addition and subtraction, we will do whichever one shows up first going left to right. So let's see, going left to right, our first one is addition. So we have 1 plus 6. What does that equal? Well, that's going to give us 7. So let's rewrite that as a 7 and rewrite everything else we didn't touch. We didn't do anything with that minus 4, so we're going to rewrite that. And now we have 7 minus 3. There's only one operation left, so we'll do that. 7 minus 4 gives us 3. Okay, so this one is a little bit more complicated, but if we take our time and write everything out and follow our order of operations, it won't be any problem. So let's start by going through our list. So parentheses. So parentheses, are there any in our problem? Yes, we actually see 2 groups of parentheses. Now all the parentheses tell us is that we want to do whatever's inside of those braces first. So even though we see that we have addition and subtraction in there, because of our parentheses, those are going to be the first step we take. So let's take a look at this first one. What does 2 plus 3 equal? That's just going to give us a 5. And we can bring that down. And usually it's a good idea to just keep it in the parentheses for now. All right, and then we also have 6 minus 5. That's going to give us 1. And so we'll just rewrite that. Now, everything else, we didn't touch it all, so we will rewrite it. So 5 times 3 to the power of 2 plus 1. All right, so let's take a look at our list again. Let's see, we got parentheses? Yes. So even though we have parentheses, again in this step, there's no operation to be done inside of it. See how we just have a 5 and a 1? So we don't have to do this parentheses step anymore. We can just skip to the next one. Exponents. Are there any exponents in this problem? Yes, we have one right here. All right, so let's perform this operation. So let's use our English phrase. How do we say it? We say 3 multiplied by itself to times. So what is that going to be? That's going to be 3 times 2, which just gives us, a 9. 9. All right, that's the only thing we can do in this step, so we'll bring down everything else that we didn't do an operation on. All right, let's go through our list. Are there any parentheses? Nope. Are there any exponents? No. Is there any multiplication or division? Yes. Let's do it left to right. Going from left to right, we come into multiplication, and that gives us 5 times 9. And we really don't have to worry about the parentheses there. That's just kind of holding the 5 in place. So we can just say 5 times 9. Let's bring that down. Gives us 45 plus 1. Going through our order of operations, no parentheses, no exponents, no multiplication or division, any addition or subtraction. Yes, there is. Let's do it left to right. 45 plus 1 gives us 46. All right, so that's a couple examples with order of operations. The key is to just take your time and rewrite everything in the next line. And you should be, if you follow the steps and keep everything organized, it should be pretty clear what the answer is from that. And then we also learned about exponents in this lesson. Remember, whenever we are confused on things we see, we want to try to convert it into our English language. So whenever we see our exponents, we just want to say, just like we wrote it, 2 multiplied by itself 3 times. And if we do that, we're going to know exactly what these phrases equal. So that's all.